playing today without our Mason Thomas.
And he's an All-American. But there's very few teams in the country that could actually overcome that absence. Oklahoma might be one of them. Taylor Wine on the other side has really stepped up and become a game wrecker in his own right, has been outrageously productive, working against the right tackle of the opposing offensive line. But it's not just him on the outside. They are 5 deep at defensive tackle, and every single one of those defensive tackles could take over the game and would start anywhere in college football.
Well, it was a question mark right until game time as to whether or not our Mason Thomas would play today. With more on his situation, here's Molly McGrath.
Coach, your best defensive playmaker, our Mason Thomas, out with injury today. What is the impact of his absence?
Yeah, no, we're going to be fine. You know, our Mason's a great football player, but we got great depth on our defensive line.
All right, thank you, Coach. Coach Venables also gave no timetable for our Mason Thomas's return from a calf injury and said the key for their pass rush without him is, quote, no finesse, all physicality. Sean and Greg.
Injured a quad in their last game at Tennessee while scoring a touchdown on a fumble return. But they played very well without him. Played more than 3/4 of that game in Knoxville without him. Held the Vols to 18 points under their season scoring average in a big road win, 33-27, in which, in the second half in particular, John Mateer looked like the Heisman candidate quarterback we saw in the first 4 games of the season before he got hurt.
And it was understandable. There would be a little rust coming back such a short period of time from when he broke that thumb to when he returned, and it took him a little time to get comfortable, but the command looked better last week. The velocity looked better. Now the next step are the downfield throws. That was where he was so effective in those first few games. Dropped off a bit in the month of October, but hoping to finish strong here down the stretch.
Oklahoma won the toss and deferred, so Ty Simpson will get the ball first. Two of the great programs in the history of college football about to go head-to-head for just the 8th time in a meaningful game for both sides. Tate Sandell kicks off. Has had a phenomenal season in his first year with the Sooners. So here's Simpson, the redshirt junior from Martin, Tennessee. Terrific ratio, 21 touchdown passes to just 1 interception, and averaging 273 pass yards per game, behind only Joey Aguilar of Tennessee in the SEC.
Plus, you're watching a presentation of the Southeastern Conference on ABC.
43-yard punt return by Isaiah Satania gave Oklahoma short field. Tate Sandell, his school record 19th consecutive made field goal. I hope he's going to be the first Luke Rosa Award winner in school history as the best kicker.
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule. And in part by Peloton.
T-Town, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, title town. Great college football history for both of these programs. Offense not so good so far for Alabama. A couple of 3-and-outs to start the game. -5 yards of offense. Haven't gone 3-and-out on their first 3 drives of the game since 2016 when that happened against LSU in Baton Rouge. It's the second time this year they've gone 3-and-out twice to start the game, also at South Carolina.
Plus,
aerial coverage brought to us by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary. What a gorgeous day. Temperature in the mid-70s here in Tuscaloosa. Oklahoma trying to spoil homecoming. Alabama, the biggest deficit it has faced since it trailed by 17 in that opening loss at Tallahassee. They lost by 14. Point. They run the ball into the end zone to the delight of Ryan Grubb.
football.
Time for today's Aflac trivia question. It's homecoming on the campus of the University of Alabama. We want to know what was the last team to beat Alabama in a homecoming game. Oklahoma trying to do that today. Leading 10-7 as Connor Talty kicks off. Satania fair catch. The Sooners will begin at the 25. You want to hazard a guess?
Absolutely no idea. I'm going to say it was like 2003, though. That's my guess. I'm going to say 2002 or 2003, the year. Oh.
2001 to LSU. They've won 22 straight homecoming games since. They didn't have a homecoming game in 2020 because of COVID restrictions.
Makes sense. Who was on the other sideline? Looked like Coach Saban probably there for LSU.
Alabama's so good all year at not turning the ball over. Hurting themselves today, and Mateer takes advantage.
And Oklahoma gashed Alabama with quarterback run last year. 131 yards on 25 carries. They're back at it again in 25 as Mateer catches it in for a 10-point lead.
A view that's proven legendary, brought to you by Goodyear from high above Bryant-Denny Stadium. 100,077 on hand. Watching the middle game of our triple header on ABC. Tonight more SEC action and a huge game both in the conference and nationally. Number 10 Texas, number 5 Georgia, also available on the all-new ESPN app. Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, big game for each team. Oklahoma, number 11 in the CFP. When you factor in the automatic bids, that they would be the first team out of the college football playoff right now. Big chance to enhance their resume with this opportunity today and the remaining schedule. I think they're a really good football team, particularly when Mateer's healthy.
Yeah, and I think if you look at some of the performances where he wasn't at his best, you saw the offense really suffer. But this is why this guy was one of the top recruits in the portal this past year, is his legs and his willingness to test defenders downfield.
Almost Seagull. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, Capital One halftime report just minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here. How Texas A&M pulled off the biggest upset in school history. We've got highlights plus reaction. How about a developing story here? Because we've got a linebacker playing the Wildcat, and that is Jacob Rodriguez, Boog.
Some people say he should be up for the Heisman. I don't know about that, but Kev, I would have dreamed to play the Wildcat.
First career offensive touchdown, Texas Tech rolling. Back to you.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
Oklahoma leads 17-14. You're watching the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. Alabama's been one of the best teams in the country in the final 2 minutes of the first half, plus 39, trailing only Oregon and Toledo in this situation. They're trailing Oklahoma 17-14 at the 2-minute timeout. And they have the ball at their own 35 for Kalen DeBoer, 2nd down and 2. Here's a look at our scoring summary. It was 3-0 Oklahoma after a Sandell field goal set up by a punt return by Satania. Then Eli Bowen, an 87-yard interception return. Daniel Hill, a 1-yard run, made it 10-7. But Mateer, after another takeaway by the special teams of Oklahoma, 20-yard run. And then the most recent score, Simpson to Cuevas for 25 yards. It's a 3-point game. Alabama trying to get closer. Left, and that wasn't close. And you can see Talty really upset now with the snapper, David Byrd. He's letting him have it.
The snap is definitely high. It just throws off the operation. Kicking is all about rhythm, and you can see the high snap. It's corralled by Dowd, but it just hesitates Talty just enough to throw off his confidence when making the strike. You got to push through it if you're the kicker, but either way, the snap certainly impacted Talty's approach.
It looked like Taylor Wine might have gotten a piece of that. Here's Molly.
Coach, thank you for your time. I know you were really frustrated at the end of the half. Why?
We're just a little leaky in our coverage there. You know, we got to tighten things up. We had an adjustment issue on 2 plays prior to that, so we got to clean that up. I thought that, again, fortunately, they missed the field goal there. It has been a little inconsistent, from the 30-yard line out.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Big play again by special teams. Look at Taylor Wine up and over, and he did get the piece of that kick. Not sure it was going to be good either way.
Capital One halftime report here in studio. Booger McFarland, Kevin Negandhi with you. Kalen DeBoer undefeated at home during his time at Alabama. Oklahoma has 107 total yards. How are they winning this game?
Hey, Kev, the story of the game so far has been the turnovers. Alabama has statistically been dominating the game, but the turnovers so far, you got a pick 6 from Ty Simpson. You got pressure on the quarterback, 10 pressures, 1 sack. We came into this game understanding how can you affect Ty Simpson, who's one of the better quarterbacks in the country, get pressure on him. 10 pressures under duress. Ty Simpson hasn't been good. So far, the Oklahoma defense and turnovers are the reason they're
This is the graphic here, too. Alabama's second time trailing at the half. The only other time, the opener against Florida State.
And we know what happened that day.
Hey, yeah, and by the way, that could have been a race, that bottom line, if the kicker just made the kick.
And by the way, the kicker should have made the kick. He was a little upset, but he should have made it.
Okay, ahead. How about this? There was a 97% chance Texas A&M was going to lose today. How they pulled off one of the biggest comebacks of the season, find out after this.
Welcome to the Capital One Halftime Report.
Well, Kevin, OU right now up 17-14 over Alabama. Let's take a look at some of the scores. Georgia Tech tied up with 1 win. Boston College. Cincinnati goes down. Meanwhile, Iowa on the road up by 11 at USC.
Iowa playing great defense, and something tells me Georgia Tech, BC, probably a little chilly in Chestnut.
Yes, Virginia in complete control. But the biggest storyline is what we saw earlier today. College Station, number 3, A&M, undefeated and taking on South Carolina. And oh no, Marcel Reed. He had 3 turnovers in the first half.
It was a story of the first half. Marcel Reed was beating A&M, causing turnovers.
Next play, South Carolina, just 3 wins. Lenora Sellers, to Nick Harbor. He's going to the house 80 yards.
And the anatomy of an upset, your best players have to play. Lenora Sellers, Nick Harbor, Dylan Stewart, their 3 best players all made plays in the first half.
Harbor runs up the tunnel, and then he's bumped here coming out by a Texas State trooper. That trooper was relieved of game day duties after this. Oh, boy. It's 27-3. Keep that in mind, South Carolina. 30-3 at the half. And then something clicked here in the second half. What was the difference for Reed?
It's amazing what confidence will do. First, you have to have belief. In the second half, Marcel Reed was accurate. He didn't think. He just played football over and over and made big play after big play, and momentum started to go against South Carolina.
Reed had 3 third-quarter touchdowns. Then that is Emmett's son, E.J. Smith, going in, and A&M taking their first lead of the game. Sellers had a chance late. Minute 15 left, and he can't get it done on 4th and 16. Mike Elko and Taylor McGregor on his team's mentality in the comeback.
Yeah, I think unbelievable grit, unbelievable togetherness. They obviously got to play really bad to start the game. That starts it, but they don't blink. They don't. We've been in a lot of these situations. We found ways to find wins. No one panicked on our sideline, and we just made a heck of a lot of plays in the second half.
Thank you, Coach.
Biggest comeback in program history. A&M, the first SEC team in the last 21 years to come back down 27-plus points. Now they're 1 in 286.
Kev, I'm so impressed with Texas A&M, and I get it. They caused a lot of this on their own in the first half.
Yeah.
But when you're down 27, it's so easy to just put it in and say, you know what, today's not our day. But the mental fortitude of this team to come back over and over and over again, especially in the second half, and we talk about moments. Marcel Reed in the second half was as good as you can play the quarterback position. This team is going to be better off come playoff time than they were before this game.
And by the way, shout out to Mike Elko finalizing a 6-year extension today to make him one of the top 5 coaches.
Ain't no money
sport.
like new money.
Yeah, that is, by the way, $11 million
That's a
year.
lot of it.
So that is a lot, a good comeback to celebrate, of course. All right, now, Michigan. playing at Wrigley Field. Number 18 in the country against Northwestern. Bryce Underwood on the read option, and he fakes everybody, including the cameraman, and he goes in for the touchdown. But keep in mind, Northwestern not going to back down. This is in Chicago, and they were winning until this. Dominic Zavada, he missed the first 2 kicks, gets this one. 5 turnovers by Michigan, and they still pull off the win. Wow. All right, group of 5, start of the day. Best chance to make the playoff. You had USF just over JMU, Book.
Without a doubt, they were the first group of 5 team to be ranked. Could they hold on to that ranking against Navy?
They couldn't hold on to this game. Taking on a Navy team that had Blake Horvath back as well as Braxton Woodson in the backfield. 64-yard rush there, the keeper, and Navy knocks off USF.
How about Navy? 334 yards rushing on the day, 6.4 yards per carry. Blake Horvath didn't play against Notre Dame last week. They wanted to save him, make sure he was healthy. He was outstanding today,
41-38 the final. So with that, bye-bye USF, and JMU gets bumped up at a 43% chance in the group of 5 to reach the college football playoff. They are cruising along right now in their game against App State. Indiana, they've never won 11 straight, and Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman favorite, 2 incompletions, 4 touchdowns.
I give Wisconsin a lot of credit. Luke Fickell got a little bump saying he's going to be back next year. Wisconsin played well, but Fernando Mendoza continued to be accurate with the football, and Indiana continued to roll.
31-7 over Wisconsin, the first 11-0 start in program history for Indiana. Jeremiah Love, unstoppable. 9 straight games of the rushing touchdown, longest active streak in the FBS, 147 on the ground.
Remember Jahmyr Gibbs when he was at Alabama, and now he's at the Detroit Lions? That's what he reminds me of. Explosive, running, can catch the football. He's the best running back in America.
The Irish cruise to a win at Pitt. Ahead, top 10 showdown on ABC. Georgia hosting Texas. We'll have a report on the quarterbacks and what's at stake for Arch Manning and the Longhorns.
This halftime report is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Welcome back to the Capital One halftime report.
Well, Kevin, back with you. 17-14. Oklahoma leads Alabama at the half. Take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. Georgia's Gunnar Stockton coming off a 3-touchdown, no-pick performance against Mississippi State. Third in the FBS with the QBR of 89.4. Holly Rowe on the broadcast tonight with much more on the quarterbacks coming in.
Between the hedges tonight, it is a tale of 2 quarterbacks who are trending in the right direction. For Georgia, Gunnar Stockton has gotten better every week. In fact, the coaches told us they are putting more on his plate in the offense because they trust him, particularly throwing downfield more. If you look at the stats, he is one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. But what might surprise you is so is Arch Manning. The last couple of weeks, he has really improved. And he told us that he went to an unusual source for a little inspiration this week on how to beat Georgia. That's his good buddy, Ty Simpson, the quarterback at Alabama. They are good friends. They talk on an almost weekly basis. Ty Simpson said, I asked Arch about how I could beat Oklahoma today, the game you're watching right now at halftime. And he told Arch Manning on some keys to beating Georgia. So we'll see if that quarterback brotherhood helps either guy, particularly here between the hedges tonight.
It's interesting, Holly. Thank you so much. There's Sark with the jacket. How's he helping Arch so far?
Kev, like me with a driver on a tight fairway. Don't think, just let it go.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. Just let it fly. And Arch is playing with a lot of confidence right now.
I've seen your play. That ball goes in the woods, and we just completely lose it.
No
More after
comment.
this.
This halftime report is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
What a good boy. Alabama's Ty Simpson, 246 in the air so far, but they're down 17-14.
Got to keep the pressure off Ty Simpson because when he's unpressured, he's playing really well.
Sooners get the ball after this.
Plus.
You're watching Peloton Statement Saturday.
And you're watching the SEC on ABC, presented by Burger King. From Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 4, Alabama. The Sooners have not trailed in this one. They have a 3-point lead at the half, and they'll get the ball to begin the second half. Their offense wasn't on the field for very long. John Mateer scored a touchdown. set up by one of the two takeaways by Brent Venables' team. One of them by the defense. Eli Bowen, a pick 6. The other one on special teams. Ty Simpson threw for 246 in the half, most in any half for an Alabama quarterback since Bryce Young went for 264 in the first half of the Iron Bowl against Auburn in 2022. Connor Talty kicks off after he missed the field goal. It was deflected by Taylor Wine at the end of the half. Would have tied it. A number of Alabama miscues in that half.
Yeah, it started with a turnover early, forced by the pressure of Oklahoma. Bowen grabs it, takes it all the way back for a pick 6. It's a rare mistake by Ty Simpson, and then Ryan Williams gets the ball punched out on a punt return. That would set up another score, and then a high snap leads to a pulled kick that would have tied the game right before the half. So a number of mistakes from the Tide have them in a hole.
The coaches talk about it all the time. Both coaching staffs talked about it yesterday when we visited with them. The turnover margin is key, and that's been the biggest factor in this game so far.
Yeah, it definitely has. And if you look so far, first play of the second half, they want to get Isaiah Satania. They want to get the horizontal stretch going offensively, because so much of what they did early on was right up the middle. Now they got to attack the perimeter. That's where Alabama might have some room.
Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer's message in the locker room was all about those mistakes in the first half. He said 14 points off of 2 turnovers is unacceptable, and our field position is going to be crucial in this second half. He said the one positive, our defense should be fresh, and he expects them to set the tone here.
7 for 7 from 50 plus. He has become a weapon. You're watching Peloton Statement Saturday. So Oklahoma trying to make a statement. Number 11 in the CFP. Right on the fringe of being in the 12-team college football playoff. Chance for an enormous resume booster today with 2 home games remaining after today against Missouri and LSU. Sandell a touchback after his field goals, giving them a 6-point lead.
Ty Simpson had 246 yards in the first half through the air, and he's been great with his eyes. This defense requires you to be very quick with where you're getting to your reads. You got to get off 1 quickly, get to 2, get to 3. He's done that beautifully, and then taking advantage of a busted coverage as well. Hits Cuevas. When they make mistakes, you have to capitalize. He did a pretty good job of that. After the interception, I thought he really settled in and made some good decisions there in the beginning of the first half. And it was a beautiful throw by Ty Simpson to Isaiah Horton over the top to get him inside the 5, where Daniel Hill finishes on a direct snap to give the Tide their first lead of the ball game.
The Taco Bell student section. The Live Moss student section of the year up for grabs. Only one student section can claim it. Who will take home the trophy? 42,000 students enrolled here. Lots of alums back for homecoming. And they've watched a very entertaining game with a long way still to go. Mines?
Absolutely.
Seems like an appropriate nickname for School of Mines. Just in the nick of time. The promo Tuesday, the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese, Greg, and the guys. Greg has in his contract, everybody else has to be referred to as the guys. They're going to break down, react to the 12-team field. A live interview with the new committee chairman, Arkansas AD Hunter Yurichek. It's 8:30 on ESPN and the all-new app in between games of the men's State Farm Champions Classic. Timeout, Alabama, 3:19 to go in the third quarter.
That tempo has been challenging on third down. Alabama trying to make full substitutions, and Oklahoma very aware of that, just keeping their offense on the field, getting them up to the line of scrimmage, and Alabama's had a tough time communicating, had to waste the time out there because of the substitution problem.
Texas A&M 7-0 after they came from 30-3 down to beat South Carolina today. Alabama trying to join them. Each team has one conference game left after today. Oklahoma has a very slim chance to make the SEC title game. They need to win out and get a lot of help. Here are this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to us by Goodyear. That was the bracket that came out on Tuesday night.
Musical chairs right now in the G5 as South Florida falls to Navy in pretty shocking fashion. Texas Tech continues to roll. They are very impressive. Ole Miss will be on field tonight against a Florida Gator team that we're not quite sure what to make of them. And Texas and Georgia, man, doesn't get much bigger than that tonight there in Athens.
Huge game. Both in the SEC and with CFP implications. It's a dandy. 8th meeting all time between these two great programs, and a ton of meeting in this one. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
AM.
Start of the fourth quarter. Alabama leading by 1, but Oklahoma, which has led through most of the day, poised to reclaim the lead. They're at the 10-yard line. Another Alabama miscue.
And it's been a bunch of mistakes, very uncharacteristic. It started with pressure up the middle. Ty had to get rid of it quickly. It's intercepted and take it to the house. And then on a punt return from Ryan Williams, gets knocked out, where Oklahoma's able to catch that, and a high snap led to a missed field goal by Talty that gave Oklahoma a 3-point lead going into the half, and then Wine around the right side delivers a perfect hit on Ty Simpson to knock the ball out for yet another takeaway for the Sooners.
Aerial coverage from above Bryant-Denny Stadium, brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven, legendary.
SEC on ABC College Football is presented by Burger King. You rule. And in part by T-Mobile 5G home internet.
A big intentional grounding call took Oklahoma out of the potential for a field goal try. Let's bring in Matt Austin. Matt, do you agree with this call?
Yeah, Sean, I do. Normally, when the quarterback realizes the play's not going to work and he wants to throw it into the ground, you got to get it about halfway to the receiver. When you're under duress, you got to get it within a yard or two, and this isn't even close, so this is a good call.
Ian.
Here's today's Nissan Heisman watch. Ty Simpson certainly in the race. Many say he is lacking a Heisman moment. Perhaps the chance for that today. Mendoza had his last week at Penn State with the last-second comeback win on the great catch by Omar Cooper Jr. Time now for our All-State Good Hands play. In the hands of Taylor Wine, perhaps the difference in this game. Up and over on the Talty field goal try at the end of the first half. It was not a good-looking kick when it left his foot, but he is taking credit for the missed field goal. And right now, that's the difference in the game. The half today at home against South Carolina. And Oklahoma better than 50% chance of being in the college football playoff if they can take care of business at home against two talented teams in Missouri and LSU, both of whom were ranked earlier in the season. Wine is a beast. Kalen DeBoer suffers his first home loss as Alabama head coach. And the Sooner defense, one of the best in the country for sure, lived up to that, and then some today. Here's Molly.
John, you just took down the number 4 team in the country on their field.
No doubt.
How are you the tougher team out here today?
We took down the number 4 team in the country, and that's what we focused on all week: physicality and the turnover margin, and we were successful in both. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, speaking of the turnover margin, your defense with 17 points off of 3 turnovers. What kind of fight and toughness did you see in that group?
Yeah, I mean, they give us a spark whenever we need it, and they didn't get a whole lot of turnovers at the beginning of the year, but the football guys loved them back because of how hard they play, and I love those guys. I'm so proud of them.
Your defense is playing lights out. You told us your confidence has turned a corner recently. What should we expect out of this Sooners team down this final stretch of the season?
Yeah, we got 2 more regular season games, and we're going to play our heart out. We know what we have in front of us, and tonight we'll celebrate this one, but we're back to work.
All right, congrats on the win.
Thank you so much.
Sean.
And Mack Rhodes, the committee chairman last week, said that they have factored in Oklahoma's 2-2 record when it was clear Mateer was still recovering from the thumb injury. They have 4 wins now against AP-ranked teams.
Yeah, a lot to be very proud of for Oklahoma. And like you said, they're a different team when John Mateer's at 100%. And he looked closer to that tonight than he has at any point in the last few weeks.
A wild day in the SEC. Brent Venables brings the Sooners to Tuscaloosa and ends Alabama's 17-game home winning streak. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Kevin McGandhi.
Sean, wild day in the SEC. Will we have a wild night? Steve Sarkisian looking for his first win against Georgia. They're 0-2 since moving to the SEC last season.
Yeah, they got swept last season. It was the pass rush last season. Georgia's pass rush not quite as good this year, so maybe, just maybe, they can protect Arch tonight.
Under 50 minutes away from kickoff right here, prime time on ABC. Meanwhile, less than 10 minutes away from Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss seeking their 3rd straight 10-win season.
The most coveted head coach in America, dare I say. A lot of people want his services. However, Lane Kiffin has a team with an inside path to a playoff spot.
Facing a Florida team that's looking for a head coach next year. We got that coming your way over on ESPN. Coming up here on ABC, more on Oklahoma's big win, plus one of the biggest comebacks of the season. Highlights after this.